Hi friends, and welcome back to playing tribute to Ace Attorney, Spirit of Justice. We're on the final stretch, the final upload of this series that I've been playing through for you, and it's kind of bittersweet because I love this game. I love this game series. This game was a little weird in the series. It seemed a little bit different, but I am still very much enjoying it. I love the return of familiar characters. Not really liking what we're doing to poor Apollo, though. My gosh, between last game and this game, he's been through a lot. I hope that Right Anything Agency's healthcare includes some therapy, because he might need some after everything that has happened between him losing his friend in the last game and him losing his foster father in this one. But speaking of his foster father and all of that, we still have that picture of Jove Justice, his actual father, his biological father, and we are still no closer to solving that. There's a lot of mysteries still yet to unravel because we have that whole assassination attempt, which it seemed that that Queen Amara still thought that Dirk was the one who tried to kill her, and was just suddenly it was suddenly revealed to her that that wasn't the case. That Dirk still loved her even beyond his dying breath. So, which is very sweet. But now she's maybe dead because she was just shot by a sniper under Queen Garan's unit. So there's a whole lot happening here. A lot of twists and turns, as usual. You know, what's the final case without our twists and turns, and we're just all over the place. I'm stalling. Let's jump in without any further ado, because we've got a game to beat, guys. Let's do it. There is a little bit of an ending that I do know, that I'm trying to hold off as much as I can before things become evident and revealed. So, we'll see how it goes. Here we go. We're lucky the ambulance made it in time. Oh, she's not dead. Thank goodness. But we've been forced into a recess for now, while things get straightened out. I can't believe what just happened. Tell me about it. Do you think Garan put that guard up to it? If she did, she's going to regret it. No one gets away with something like that on my watch. Poor Queen Amara. Your Benevolence? Any news on her condition? She's undergoing surgery at the hospital as we speak. They are giving her a 50-50 chance of survival, though. That, Garan! Justice will be served. Why? Why did this happen? Just as we were finally reunited. Queen Amara. What was that about being reunited? Oh, it's nothing. Right. How are you, Hornhead? Dirk Sadmati was your father and all, but blood. Wow, okay. Dirk Sadmati was your father and all but blood, after all. Thank you for your concern, Your Benevolence. But I'm fine. Right now, we still have a trial to see through. So that's what I'm going to stay focused on. Hornhead, you are sturdier than your stature lets on. Just don't overdo it, okay, Apollo? Aw, dats. Dirk, that was a real shocker, all right. Can't believe the dragon is dead. Dats. Say, AJ, I was wondering. When Dirk disappeared after I freed him, that's because Amara turned back into herself, right? Yeah, I suppose so. But I don't know if it was because Dirk's spirit willed it. Or if it was a part of Garan or Amara's plan. Man, our dream of revolution. Now what are we gonna do? Is this it? Don't give up yet. There's a very good chance that Garan is the real culprit in all this. And if we can prove her guilt in court... Hey, you're right! That could be just the push we need. The dream lives on. Yes, it does. You know what that means, AJ? The fate of the revolution rests squarely on your shoulders. All in a day's work. Ugh, who am I kidding? That's a ton of pressure. But this is what Dirk gave his life for, so I have to do this for him. The Honorable Rebel Dirk Sudmati. I would have loved to have spoken with him while he yet lived. Really? Why not? I mean, he seemed like quite an interesting man. Did she bump her head or something earlier? The trial is about to resume. The defense is to report to the courtroom at once. Already? After what just happened? The first thing Garan will do is respond to that last accusation, so you'd better stay on your toes, Apollo. I will, Mr. Wright. Ready or not, Garan, here comes justice. Let's do this thing. Alrighty. Now then, let's resume today's proceedings. Huh? Where's Nayuta? I must offer my apologies. I never imagined a royal guardsman would do such a thing. What? He wasn't acting under your orders? How dare you cast suspicions upon Her Eminence? It is quite all right, Your Majesty. Suspicion is only natural under such circumstances. But rest assured that he acted alone, for I knew nothing of his plans. I don't believe that for a second. Now then, Your Majesty, regarding the murder of my husband, Minister Inga, I would like to offer a new possibility. A new possibility, you say? Indeed, for during the break, the real killer confessed to me. What? Bailiff, call the witness to the stand. I have a bad feeling about this. I think I know who confessed. Oh, gosh. Alright, the real killer confessed. What's she got up her sleeve this time? I have a really bad feeling about this. Yeah, me too, Apollo. I think I know who she's about to call. Yep. That's who I expected to see. He's the one who confessed. Prosecutor Sudmati, you're the real killer? I questioned him during the recess, as I felt that Amara had been covering for someone. So it was that he finally confessed his crime to me. Oh yeah, she was covering for you, you witch. Nayuta, you didn't really do it, did you? Her Eminence speaks the truth. It was I who killed Justice Minister Inga. Nayuta! No, now you're covering for her. Stop it! Stop covering for each other. Peace! Prosecutor Sudmati, are you absolutely certain about this? A confession of this nature is grave indeed. Yes, I am certain. For I killed him by my own hand. That's his I'm hiding something stance. Or his I'm troubled and feeling emotions stance. At last, the real killer has been revealed. How are we supposed to respond to this? Nayuta, retract your confession now! Mr. Justice, it is not yet time for your cross-examination. Who cares about that? Admit it. It was Queen Garan who put you up to this. She forced you into giving a confession, didn't she? You are out of line, Mr. Justice. Learn some self-restraint. But... Or do you have something that might prove that I did not commit this murder? That is, What do you think you're doing, you idiot? Truly, the truth can set us free. Looks like Garan got to him somehow. I definitely didn't see this coming. Nayuta, why are you doing this? Why would you sacrifice even your life to do Garan's bidding? Whatever the case may be. Prosecutor Sudmati, your testimony, please. Okay, his testimony is going to be a lie. He has nothing to do with it. He probably wasn't even nearby, let alone there. I could not remain silent while Her Eminence fell under suspicion for this crime. But you could remain silent while your mother did? Dude. It's your plan is very easy to see through. It was I who murdered Justice Minister Inga. And you who was going to accuse your father? So your father was under suspicion, then your mother was under suspicion. And yet when it's Queen Garan who's under suspicion, that's when you say something. This is a whole twisted mess, this is. He had to die for the future of Khura'in. I consider divine judgment cast upon a fiend who sought to assassinate our monarch. My mother was simply covering for me. I am ashamed I let her go so far for my sake. You do understand what you're doing, right, Nayuta? You're sentencing yourself to death if you're found guilty. If that is the court's verdict, then so be it. I must obey the law above all else. The law, Nayuta, or the queen?
Objection!
Enough! This blather has nothing to do with the witness's testimony. Please address any issues you may have during the cross-examination defense. Oh, I will. I'm going to blow his problematic testimony to smithereens. Press everything!
Hold it!
You kept quiet all this time, even though you were the real killer? Yes, and I accept that what I have done can never be forgiven. But I never imagined suspicion would fall upon the queen herself. Prosecutor Sudmati has placed the future of our kingdom above his own life. He is taking responsibility for his crime and is showing his loyalty to the queen and country. Without a monarch on the throne, Khura'in would be plunged into chaos. I could never wish that upon my homeland. That's why I had to let the truth be known. What a bunch of baloney. I'm going to ask you again, Nayuta. Did you really kill Minister Inga? Yes. No matter how many times you ask, Mr. Justice, the truth is immutable.
Hold it!
It's not too late. You can still retract your confession before the verdict is rendered. There is no retracting the truth. One either tells it or does not tell it. It is that simple. Why do you always have to be so stubborn, Nayuta? I hate how you never listen to reason once you get like this. I think we'll need some evidence before we can get him to retract his confession. Either that, or we'll have to force a retraction out of him by appealing to what's in his heart. It's not going to be easy either way. Prosecutor Sudmati, what was the motive for your crime? I had reason enough to kill Minister Inga.
Hold it!
What do you mean by that? Minister Inga was planning to assassinate Her Eminence in a coup d'etat. I had to nip the evil in the bud, even if it cost me the purity of my soul. So you're saying that the death of another is a reasonable price to pay to protect the Queen? Long have we remained independent under the authority of our spirit medium queens. We command the people's awe and respect with the power to commune with the dead. Without such a monarch, our kingdom would lose its standing in the world. But if spirit channeling is so important, why did you have Queen Amara perform the rite? I'm afraid my elder sister is quite capricious. She would fulfill her duty only when the desire struck, as sporadic as that was. It was, therefore, something she did on a whim. There was no meaning behind it. A meaningless whim? Hard to press a statement like that. Now, if I may return to my testimony.
Hold it!
Divine judgment? Yes. I render judgment upon the minister on behalf of the Holy Mother. Are you saying the Holy Mother guided you? No. Her Holiness would never condone killing in her name, regardless of circumstances. As such, I believe my defiled soul will be condemned. But I do not regret what I have done. I willingly sacrificed my soul to protect this kingdom's future. Snap out of it already, Nayuta. So his motive comes from a place of faith, huh? Why does that sound completely credible when it's coming from him? Well, Amara expressed a similar motive. As for her mercifulness, she is truly deserving of her title.
Hold it!
So you killed Minister Inga, and Queen Amara staged the crime. Is that how it went? Precisely. My mother is as clever as she is kind. She sought to conceal my crime by taking all of the guilt upon herself. Yet another lie. Need to poke a hole in his testimony, but how? Nayuta, could it be... He didn't know Nayna's real identity. That was proven by his reaction before. He had no idea that she was alive. He definitely didn't tell Amara what to do. You didn't realize that Nayna was actually Queen Amara, your own mother. That is not as strange as you might think. Much time has passed since we last met, after all. Right. 23 years ago, was it? When Dirk saved her after the supposed assassination attempt? No, Mr. Justice. It was 15 years ago that Dirk abducted my mother. Huh? That's weird. Are you sure about that? I remember it clearly. I was around 10 years old at the time. Nayuta, please add that last statement to your testimony. Oh boy.
Objection!
You're saying that Dirk made off with Queen Amara 15 years ago. But that's strange because I heard something very different from Dirk. He said that they ran off together 23 years ago. That is impossible. I know for a fact it was 15 years ago. Well, I have evidence that contradicts your statement. How do you explain this photo? Dirk said it was taken 23 years ago. He said that. He did, but if we take what he said as fact, then there's something in this photo that doesn't make any sense. This isn't making any sense to me, so I suppose I should ask. What does not make any sense if the photo is only 15 years old?
Take that!
Nayuta, this discrepancy may not be directly related to this case, but I don't think we can simply overlook it either. Dirk said the baby in this photo was you. Actually, he never said that. He never did. He never said that. I don't know whether you guys remember that conversation, but I don't think he ever said that that was Nayuta. I think he was just like, oh, haha, you're so funny. And then it's like, oh, it must be Nayuta. Oh, I understand what you mean now. Haha. Like, I don't think he said, yes, it is. But that doesn't make any sense if the photo's only 15 years old. After all, you said you were around 10 then, right? He's definitely sweating bullets over there over something. Apollo, if this baby isn't Nayuta... Wait, you don't think... Did Queen Amara have another child while she was on the run? What? And just what if that child were being held hostage? Nayuta, is that why you obey Queen Karan's every command? You presume too much. Ah, and that's why Queen Amara was trying to take the rap as well, to protect this other child. A child born 15 years ago. It would have to be someone who's around 14 or 15 years old now. This is just a guess. But I believe I know someone who fits the bill. This also explains the strange behavior. Alright, folks, I told you I'd tell you whenever it was revealed. That's what I remembered. I remembered a piece of the fact. I remembered that Nayuta and the princess were related. That is the only thing I remembered going into this game. I didn't remember what the situation around it was. Didn't remember anything really. I just remembered that Nayuta and the princess were related, and that he was the way he was to protect her. So when everything else started falling into place, I was like, oh, okay. When I saw that picture, I knew immediately. I was like, oh, that's the picture that reveals the fact that she was the daughter of the queen. Queen Amara. So here we are, at last. The game has caught up with my memory, and now from here on out, it's a blank slate. All those strange statements she kept making, now they all make sense. So the whole sins of the father reflect on the children thing, I think, was the main thing here. Now I see, Nayuta, why you do what you're told. The other child born to Dirk and Queen Amara was... Mr. Justice, I believe I know what you are about to say. But I cannot allow you to name an innocent soul as the child of terrible sinners. Yeah, that's why. That's the problem. I thought you might try to stop me. After all, simply revealing this information endangers who you've been trying to protect. I think this should make it clear what I'm talking about. Nayuta was expelled from the royal family. The idea that the sins of the father have visited upon its children is deeply rooted in the minds of the Kyraianese people. This is the chink in your armor, the reason why you fear for your sibling's reputation. And that is a file full of information that Dirk collected on what happened 23 years ago. A particular note right now is what's written here. Sins of the father are visited upon his children. This deeply held idea is why you were expelled from the royal family. Which means it wouldn't bode well for your sibling either, if she were revealed to be Dirk's daughter. You became a prosecutor to bring down Queen Garan, but at some point you came to serve the very regime you despised, and that was because the Queen found this chink in your armor. That's how she came to use your sister against you. Nayuta, have you been keeping this secret all this time? Have you been trying to protect me? You're an innocent party to all this, and have only to safeguard the law and serve the country and queen from which it flows. One such as you, who is destined to ascend the throne, need not fret over one such as I. No, I cannot accept that. What you say is, it's malarkey. Don't you even care what happens to you? Before country, queen, law, and everyone's future. My personal feelings are of no consequence. That is why I resign myself to my fate. I know I must accept the status quo without any thoughts of change. Spoken like a true prosecutor and patriot. I shall continue to rule Kirain until the day Rafa succeeds me. For that is what is best for our kingdom. I know, Your Eminence. Yours is no small sacrifice, but I promise you this. In exchange for your life, the child shall remain safe, and the kingdom shall prosper. That is all I can ask for with my meager existence. Nayuta, is this really the new you? Resigning yourself to the will of another, and killing any hope you held for the future? No. The Nayuta I knew would never let himself be turned into this. Now, Your Majesty, if you would hand down your verdict.
Objection!
You can say you're simply accepting your fate, Nayuta, but I know that deep down, there's still hope in your heart. Oh, Holy Mother, preserve me. It's the kind of hope that perseveres through the most desperate of times. And it's what binds you, me, and Dirk together as a family. I know because this has demonstrated to me that you haven't lost all hope yet. I thought this would come at the end.
Take that!
When you interrogated Dirk, you confiscated all of his possessions as potential evidence. All except this. So tell me, Nayuta, why didn't you take his badge? You couldn't bear to take it from him, could you? And I know why. It's because this badge means something special to us. Hey, Dirk. Why do you still wear your badge? You're not a lawyer anymore, right? This badge is my heart and soul, son. I'll never stop trying to realize my dream. Not until my very last breath. A dragon never yields, right? Exactly. Nayuta, Apollo, I vow to restore Kiraini's legal system to its rightful state one day. I want to pass on to you a world where you can live free from the fear of tyranny. You may say that you've given up, but that's not how it really is it? You never gave up, and you never will. Because you still believe that all of the wrongs will be righted someday, don't you? You are very perceptive, Mr. Justice. It may very well be as you say. Why did I not confiscate this badge? Even I did not know. Until now. Perhaps I was waiting for him to save me. Save you? Yes, save me. Like he did on that day. Someday, he would come and free our family from the chains of the past. Perhaps deep down, that is what I believed. I believed in Dirk, our father. Nayuta, I knew you. However, it was but a dream. And now the dream has died. Murdered along with Dirk. So now as the eldest, the responsibility falls squarely onto me. No matter the cost, I must protect her. Please try to understand, Apollo. Understand why I shall bear all this sin. It is the only way. But... You have wasted more than enough of my time, lawyer. Do you not see the futility of your desperate floundering? The immutability of his duty? It is time to accept defeat. Now, watch as the hammer of justice comes down upon your dear brother. Your Majesty, the verdict, if you will. Yes, Your Highness. Wait a second. What do I do? Does the defense wish to raise an objection? There's got to be some way to save Nayuta. Apollo. Okay, wait. Alright. Hasn't Dirk already been proven innocent? So there are no sins of the father to put upon Rafa. It all goes back to that incident 23 years ago. It's branded him the son of a criminal. So if we could once and for all prove that Dirk didn't try to assassinate Amara, right, Nayuta and Rafa's father would no longer be viewed as a criminal. But I thought there wasn't any evidence left. Because it was all destroyed in the fire. And Dirk investigated the matter for years but never managed to learn anything new. Really? Nothing at all? Could an exceptional lawyer like Dirk try that long and really uncovered nothing at all? He had over 2 decades, Apollo. Huh? He's right. I doubt Dirk would have gone to his grave without discovering something new. He must have secretly planted something to topple Garan with somewhere. Take another look at the evidence. You just might find what we need to break out of the situation within there. Find what we need to break out of the situation in there. I don't know why with was in there. Got it. Okay. I think it's time. I think it's time for the picture. If the defense is done stalling for time, I shall now render my verdict. No, wait. About the assassination attempt 23 years ago. The defense has some new information it would like to share. You do? Well, we had intended to deliberate that case in the course of this trial. Dirk, did you leave something behind for me? Is there some connection I'm missing here? Very well, then. What is the source of your new information about this case from 23 years ago?
Take that!
A photograph? Yes. Do you recall the traveling musician who died in that fire 23 years ago? How could anyone forget such a painful chapter in our history? The poor fellow was caught up in the blaze that was meant for Queen Amara. We never knew his identity, though, as his belongings were burnt to ashes. Well, about that. The truth is, he was my biological father. Oh? What? Why, of course. With his photo and her benevolence. Exactly. We might be able to prove Dirk's completely innocent. And that would free her from the infamy of having criminal blood in her veins. Because here in Khura'in, we can witness the final memories of the dead. What utter nonsense! There was no evidence left in the wake of that blaze. That's what you think. But Dirk went to the ends of the earth to bring this little souvenir back for us. He did. Yep, and boy, is it the best piece of evidence ever. He knew that with it, we'd finally be able to conclusively settle the matter here in court, and save his children. Your Majesty, the defense requests that we hold a divination seance for the new victim. What a waste of time! The events of 23 years past have already been deliberated at length. But wasn't Dirk on trial for that incident as well today? So we wouldn't be doing our jobs if we failed to look into this new lead, would we? Ugh. As the presiding judge, I will now share my thoughts on the matter. The attempted assassination of Queen Amara is a case we can ill afford to leave open, and I believe that the final memories of the victim will prove to be very important. Therefore, it is the opinion of this court that we should conduct another divination seance. Why you? Your benevolence. If you knew the full name of the victim seen in this photo, you'd be able to perform a divination seance, right? Of course! Leave it to me. Thank you. My father's full name is... Jove Justice. All right. Now, your benevolence. Please commence the divination seance when you are ready.
O Holy Mother, we hold this divination seance in your name. Let the eyes of everyone here be clear, and our ears be unstopped. O dance of devotion, guide the victim's soul to me, so that we may receive their final memories in the pool of souls.
Last one. We've already seen it during the course of this case, so I am gonna skip it. But it is the last one, so it's kind of sad that I'm going to skip it. Oh well. Let's go. The spirit of the victim has granted us a window into his final moments. It would appear that divination seance was a success. So those were my father's final moments. That baby we saw must have been you, Apollo. I will now decipher the experience of the deceased. Are you ready, Hornhead? Yes, please proceed. Very well. Here are my interpretations of the facts as gleaned from the seance vision. Someone attempted to assassinate Queen Amara by setting her residence ablaze. Hornhead's father happened to stop by, and was knocked out by the assassin. Dirk's fingerprints were discovered on the lighter found at the scene of the crime. That is how he was determined to be the assassin. Hornhead's father tried to save his son, but sadly he perished in the attempt. And that is everything the deceased experienced in his final moments. My father's final memories. They're right here for everyone to see, but can any of them unlock the truth behind what happened 23 years ago? Okay, we can see the queen there, right? That's the queen, yes. And that's Apollo, who still has little horn heads. He had the horns even as a baby. What is the pain he's feeling? Wait, hold on a second. Is this a smell? It is a smell, okay. Smelling burning, feeling pain. There's so little information here. I don't... We can see... Oh! Wait. That's it. Because we can see the hand. Right here. Is it gloved?
Objection!
Can we look a little clearer at this? Dirk's fingerprints were discovered in the lighter that was found at the crime scene. However, it's very foggy, or smoky. The hand holding the lighter in the seance vision appears to be gloved. I believe you're right. What could this mean? It calls into question whether the hand in the vision really was Dirk's. If only we could make out the details a little better. Very well. I will attempt to focus a bit more on what the deceased saw. And perhaps that will help refine the seance vision. Yeah, this is really fuzzy. It does seem that there was a glove on that hand. What's that red thing? Is that like a scar or something? Still, what significance could that have? It means that Dirk's fingerprints got on the lighter at some other time. Somebody could have even put them there after the fire. All you have is pure speculation, while the fact remains that they are his fingerprints. Therefore, it stands to reason that Dirk was the one who used the lighter.
Objection!
It just means I have to prove that the figure in the vision is someone else, using the information in my father's final memories. Either way, it seems that I must revise my insights. Okay, she's updated her insights. Time to go over them and see if there are any new inconsistencies to be found. Now that his sight is clearer, we might be able to see a little bit better here. Ha ha ha. Oh. Did you see that? Oh, oops. I had the wrong. Okay. There's like a tattoo or something on his arm. I say her because I think it's Garan. But I don't know.
Objection!
Can you see a little bit clearer there, Rafa? Just a tiny bit. Oh, wait, then this means the real culprit is... The figure in this vision is clearly not Dirk. The distinctive band around the wrist gives their true identity away. That design! It can't be! Oh? Oh, the band around the wrist! That wasn't a tattoo. It was his sleeve things. Oh, goodness.
Take that!
That photo! So you do believe the culprit to be... Justice Minister Inga had cuffs with the exact same pattern on them. You're referring to the cuffs of justice, correct? Yes, I hear they're a traditional part of a Kirainese justice minister's attire. But what does this tell us? Oh no, it wasn't him! The Queen! Queen Garan was the Minister of Justice at the time. Because, this was before Amara, left, so it was when she was Chief Justice, and she put in the DC Culpability Act and all that stuff. It tells us the figure of the vision is none other than Kirainese late Minister of Justice, Inga Karkul Kirain. No, not my father! So he plotted the assassination of the former queen as well as the current one? Justice Minister Inga! So then, Dirk's innocent on both charges? The Defiant Dragons, they've been right all along! Nayuda? Nayuda? What you've proposed is not possible, Apollo. For back then, Inga Karkukarayan was not the Minister of Justice. What? The Justice Minister 23 years ago was... You, Queen Garan. What? Yeah, that's what I thought. Oh, right, she served as the Minister of Justice before succeeding the throne. I guess she also prosecuted the assassination attempt. 23 years ago is one. So then, the figure in this vision is actually... Your Eminence, it's you, isn't it? This is madness. Why would Her Eminence do such a thing? Because she would ascend to the throne. She wanted to usurp the throne from her sister Amara. That's why she tried to assassinate her. I find this all very hard to swallow. Your Eminence, are you the one responsible for tearing my family apart? And was it you who killed my father? Well, Your Eminence, I'm asking you a question.
Such insolence!
Peasants. Always carrying on about things of no import. You do not deny it then. You concealed the truth and used me for your own designs. Oh, Nayuda, spare me your feeble-minded line of questioning. Even if Dirk were cleared of all charges, it shall still be I who decides Rafa's fate. You do wish for her to be queen someday, do you not? Remember, the child lives only by my good graces. Now, kneel before me and fulfill your end of the bargain by offering me your head. Your Eminence, I am done heeding your commands. Even as you used my sister against me, I still believed you. I believed that protecting your secrets was in the best interest of this kingdom, but you have been deceiving me all the while. Nayuta! Nayuta, you dare defy me! Your Eminence, I can turn the other cheek no more. Therefore, I hereby retract my confession in the murder of Justice Minister Inga. Retract, you say? Dirk, the final piece of evidence you left behind, has released Nayuta from his suffering, and now he's finally free. He has the tattoo. And all this time, not once did I reflect on my own conduct, for I'd believed all was fate. Lost in my own sense of resignation, I was unable to wake from my despair. But you, Apollo, you've awakened me with your demonstration of our Father's Creed.
A dragon never yields.
I will carry on Dirk's legacy and fulfill his dream. Hear me, Garan. I will cast you down from your bloody throne. Long live the revolution! Ugh, insolent fool! Now even you prattle on about revolution. Ouch. Would you look at that? Well, Apollo, it seems we're finally making some headway down the road Dirk carved out for us. Yeah. Now if we could just prove Garan's guilt, we could continue on down that road, toward the revolution Dirk dreamed of. Your Eminence, you have been accused of the crime committed 23 years ago. Would you like to say anything in your defense? Not so fast, Your Majesty, for the cuffs could have been stolen and used without my knowledge. So you see, they can hardly be considered proof of anything. Why, I believe you're right. But we know she's guilty. Well, lawyer, is there any other evidence you would like to have me refute? Unfortunately, this photo was the last piece of evidence Dirk left for me. So as far as evidence goes, I've got nothing else regarding that case from the past. However, now that Prosecutor Sudmati has retracted his confession, we'll have to re-deliberate the current case from scratch. Yes, the defense speaks the truth. Even though it is clear who the guilty party is. Queen Garan, the defense accuses you of the murder of Justice Minister Inga Karkul Karain. But do you have any evidence, defense? Evidence that'll prove Garan was the killer? There's still one more avenue for us to explore, Mr. Justice. There is? Minister Inga's final memories. In them, the minister's killer posed as Dirk. Therefore, one must ask, how did the killer dispose of their disguise? By burning it in the incense burners. That's why the button was on this. It was covered. Hey, you're right. A lot of blood would have splattered onto the killer, so the blood-soaked clothes would have to be dealt with somehow. If they're still around somewhere, then... Huh. I was wondering what absurd idea you would concoct next. Clothing can be disposed of almost anywhere. I doubt you could find them now. Then you don't know us very well. Your benevolence. Yes? On the day of your father's murder, you had been watching the courtyard from 2 p.m. Now during that time, you saw Queen Garan, did you not? Yes, I did. I saw my mother entering the palace from the courtyard. But I was told not to mention it because it had nothing to do with my father's murder. Raifa! You would not dare! When the queen headed to the palace, did she have Dirk's clothes in her possession? No, she did not. So, maybe she disposed them somewhere in the courtyard. Still think she burned them in the incense burners. The police did a thorough sweep of the area following the crime, but they did not find anything resembling Dirk's clothes. But you knew that already, didn't you, prosecutor? Yes, I admit no clothing was found. Heh. So you admit that you were merely speculating, chasing phantoms and illusions of evidence that never existed. This makes no sense. Clothing doesn't just disappear like that. If Garan wasn't carrying any clothes, she must have gotten rid of them somewhere. Somewhere where she thought they'd never be found. They'd never be found, huh? The tomb? You believe the clothing was hidden there? Yes, it's the only place it can be. Very well. Where in the tomb do you believe the clothes were hidden? Oh my, you believe they were hidden there? Yeah, in the incense burner. Okay, fine. Are we talking the sarcophagus again? Apollo, the crime scene was thoroughly searched, remember? They were burned! Okay, fine, the sarcophagus again. Yes, I would like to try again. Please, let me point to the sarcophagus for the, third time in this case. Of course, that makes perfect sense. The clothes were simply hidden, and they were returned to where they belonged. Ugh. And by that you mean... the killer would have had to get Dirk's clothes from somewhere. Oh, because the killer stole them from Dirk himself. But there had to have been extra clothes, right? I don't know. Luckily, they were right there. Yes, of course. At the time of the minister's murder, Dirk's body was already in the sarcophagus. Right. So the killer could have simply borrowed his clothes. Right. Before the minister entered the tomb, the killer put on Dirk's clothes, and then hid behind the curtain above the sarcophagus. And after the minister was killed, Dirk's clothes were returned to his body. So what? This is still all speculation. We know not whether these clothes were actually used in the murder. Therefore, you cannot prove that they are somehow connected to this case.
Objection!
That's where you're wrong, but I believe you already knew that. These clothes were definitely used during the minister's murder because of this. The bloodstain. Not this one or that one or that one, but this one. This bloodstain. The bloodstains on Dirk's chest are no doubt the result of being shot by the minister. However, that doesn't explain everything. There's also some blood spatter extending from his left elbow to his abdominal area. I believe this blood splatter came from Minister Inga. If the killer wore these clothes during the murder, then the blood splatter must have come from Minister Inga. I thought it was all Dirk's, but that makes sense. Only one way to be sure, though. Let's get those stains analyzed right away. Indeed, this may be the conclusive evidence we need to prove the Queen's guilt. You cannot prove it was I who hid those clothes. They could very well have been hidden by a third party. But could they really? I'd say the possibility of someone other than Garan hiding the clothes. Didn't you yourself prove that there was no third party in here? No, it's just not possible. Your Eminence, I recall you saying that the following. Yep. Ah! That was your own testimony, word for word. Why, you! Insolent! Admit it. Only you could have hidden Dirk's clothes after they were used in the murder. And that means you are the one who killed Justice Minister Inga. Insignificant worm. You dare accuse me, the ruler of Kirain? Do not think for one moment that such impudence will be I'm afraid such arguments are invalid here in the Sacred Hall, Your Eminence. Because even monarchs aren't above the law. It's the end of the line for you, Queen Garan. Time to come down from that lofty throne and face justice. Me, face justice. Surely you jest. You are in no position to force my hand, lawyer. Oh? Surely you haven't forgotten about the Defense Culpability Act. Those who would support criminals will be deemed just as guilty. In short, should I be convicted of murdering my husband, your dear brother who delivered false testimony in my defense shall also be found guilty. What? That can't be, can it? By delivering false testimony in the course of protecting a guilty party, he would certainly be judged by this court as having supported a criminal, and the Defense Culpability Act would most definitely come into play. But that law is so broad that anyone could be convicted under it. When it comes to the DC Act, even I am conflicted, and yet, as it currently stands, it is the law of the land. And as you said earlier, no one is above the law. Of all the absurd things I've seen, this law really takes the cake. Now what? What can we even do at this point? You need not look so forlorn. Dirk has been cleared of all charges. So let's leave all thoughts of the real killer and revolution in the past where it belongs. She wants us to just let her off scot-free? And yet, I don't see any other choice. We cannot yield to her here, Apollo. If it will move the revolution forward, I will gladly face the DC Act. Now do it. Accuse Queen Garan of the crimes she has committed. But... what you speak of is not revolution. Our kingdom will not function without its sovereign. And Rafa cannot ascend the throne, for she is yet incapable of channeling spirits. Thus, to accuse me is to wish destruction upon our fair kingdom, you terrorist. Terrorist? If you would still insist on accusing me, then as ruling sovereign of Kirain, I proclaim the following. All who imperil the crown, no matter the reason, shall be subject to immediate execution upon the Queen's orders. What? Immediate execution? Do you still not comprehend? Then let me be clear, for the sake of the kingdom's future, and in accordance with the laws of Kirain, I command that you be put to death at once. Shoot, we know she has snipers in here. What the? Isn't this going a bit too far? Why is the Grand Royal Guard They were on standby in case of an attack by foolishly optimistic terrorists. Now, if you would continue to oppose me, the very embodiment of the law, then under my regal authority you shall all be put to death.
Objection!
Oh, come on! This is insane! Even for you. You can't possibly get away with something like this. This is a court of law. You can't just order our execution without due process. Now look, Apollo, truth and due process are certainly important, but so is your life, so think before you speak again. But... Please, Apollo, do not make this any worse than it already is. I cannot lose you to the Twilight Realm, too. What am I supposed to do? How do I win against an opponent that can rewrite the law as she sees fit? How can I ever bring her to justice? Is this really how it all ends? It is your life or your accusation, lawyer. You cannot hope for both. It is time to cease this insanity. This is insanity. A dragon never yields! I have a feeling I'm on a split path here, so I want to save it so that I don't mess up my split path. What can I do, though? So it's interesting how it's, she was surrounding the tomb because she had her own royal guard, whereas the minister had his secret police. So they're all just under the control of tyrants. It's just a matter of which tyrant wins. I know what I have to do. Mr. Wright, you know that saying you're constantly reminding me of Athena. You know that saying you're constantly reminding me and Athena of? The worst of times are when lawyers have to force their biggest smiles. You never fail to surprise me, Apollo. And Nayuta, you know that creed we've known ever since we were kids? A dragon never yields. Apollo. They're not merely words. They're what's carried us this far. So now it's time to honor those words and the memories of the ones who gave them to us. I couldn't agree with you more, Apollo. Those words are more important to me than you know. Aw, because it was Mia who taught him that. And if there's any time to remember them, it's now. It would seem, Apollo, that not one but two auspicious creatures dwell deep within you. A fierce dragon and a virtuous phoenix that shall scatter the clouds hiding the heavens. I shall join you in your death-defying bluff. I think I finally understand what those words really mean, and the resolve they embody. Are you smiling, even in the face of certain doom? Is there no end to your defiance? Unfortunately for you, no. I won't let fear or even the law force me to abandon the pursuit of truth. Because there is another saying in my country. The truth will set you free. Indeed, that is precisely what Dirk sought to do through this trial. He wished for us to break free from a certain despicable spiders immobilizing silk threads. We won't be intimidated by unjust laws or given to fear. Abandoning the truth like that is just not a part of my playbook. There's only one path before us. Revolution. The time to make Dirk's dream a reality is upon us. Did I mention the fact that his glove had like a spider emblem, or was I too busy saying that he probably has the dragon tattoo on his hand? I think it's like the spider was covering the dragon, and then he set it free. He set it loose, and it was the spider emblem on his thing. Yeah. Anyway, on his glove thing. Yes, it is. Let's do it. Your Eminence. If you are the law here in Kirain, then your very existence is wrong. Does your desperate bleating know no end? I know it's a bit late to ask, but what's the plan? Well, if Garan is going to execute us on the spot under the Defense Culpability Act, and the law itself derives its power from the authority of the Crown, then there's only one thing to do. We dethrone her, right here, right now. Alright, but how? It's not like we have a lot of time to come up with a way to do it either. I doubt she'll allow you to perform another cross-examination while we think. Don't worry, I'll come up with something. We'll be fine. We can't give up. Not now. We have to keep fighting to the end. Logic time? We can't allow these broken trials to go on. It's time to make things right. Logic time. Okay, let's do it. If I accuse Garan, Naida will be subject to the Defense Culpability Act, which means he can be put to death in accordance with the law. So the only way out of this is to dethrone Garan right now. The Founder's Orb? Why would the Founder's Orb be the key to dethroning Garan? I have a feeling I know what we're about to lead to, so I'm gonna give it a try. Dirk was convinced the orb was the key to the revolution and the Hurain's future. In light of Garan's obsession with the orb, it makes a large amount of sense. She probably doesn't want anyone using it to gain spiritual powers and rights to the throne. Inga definitely tried to do just that, but that's where this all starts to fall apart. Inga couldn't have channeled the Founder even after abducting Miss Faye. He didn't know the Founder's name. Queen Garan knows the name. The name of the Founder is only known to those who become queen. That means the only people who currently know her name are Garan and Amara. So even if someone else had the orb, they wouldn't be able to channel the Founder. So that begs the question, why is Garan so fixated on the orb? Okay, let's not overthink this. Garan is obsessed with the orb because... There it is. That's what I thought. I was thinking that with the whole, like, her sister took her place, and that's why she can't channel spirits. Could it be? It's hard to believe, but... If she wants spiritual power, does that mean Garan can't channel spirits? That would explain why she had Amara perform the rite of channeling. Is that why she let Amara live? To stand in for her when the time came to channel spirits? So if Garan can't channel spirits... she had no claim to the throne. Garan's Defense Culpability Act was established under the Crown's authority. But if she has no claim to the throne, then the DC Act would become null and void. No, not just the DC Act. All of the insane laws she's enacted would be swept away in one fell swoop. You claim the authority of the Crown? You, of all people? That's a good one. Have you truly lost it, lawyer? Indeed, I would have the defense explain himself at once. It's easy, Your Majesty. Why is Queen Garan so obsessed with the Founder's Orb? Why did she let Queen Amara live? And why was she having her mercifulness perform the rite of channeling in her place? The answers to these three questions point to a single conclusion. A fact that will shake this kingdom to its very core. I so do not follow, Apollo. Your Eminence, I have just one question for you, and please be honest. You can't actually channel spirits, can you? What? You believe the Queen is not capable of communing with the dead? The defense will explain himself at once. In Khurain, the ability to channel spirits is an absolute requirement for a would-be queen. But Your Eminence, if you were incapable of doing that, Then you'd have no claim to the throne. Not only that, but every law you've passed would be rendered null and void. And you, the Garan Royal Guard. You seem to be rather enamored with the Queen's supposed spiritual power. But what if she had none? What if she were just an ordinary person, a pretender to the throne? That's crazy talk! Impossible! Everyone knows only spirit mediums can become queen! Such blasphemy! On what grounds do you make such a defamatory claim? Queen Garan, if you think I'm just out to defame you, then prove it. Prove it using this piece of evidence you want so badly. All the conditions for summoning the Founder should be in place. With the orb, we know what the Founder looks like. And as Queen, you should know the Founder's name. Ugh. Now, if you would, Your Eminence, please show us the great spiritual power you bear as Grand Priestess of Kirain. Oh, to witness Her Eminence's great power with her own eyes! The Holy Mother will appear before us? Oh, great miracle of miracles! Praise be, Your Eminence! May your mighty spiritual power show us the way! Enough! Enough, I say, you mindless cretins! Your Eminence, can it be that you cannot... No, I want a lawyer. Summon one at once. Objection! You want a lawyer? Aren't you forgetting something? There aren't any lawyers left in Kirain. You can thank your Defense Culpability Act for that. Ugh. Your Eminence, please give us a glimpse into your magnificent spiritual power. Summon Her Holiness so she may guide us. I have heard enough. I've heard enough out of you. Out of my sight, all of you. If you truly are capable of channeling spirits, then get on with it already, Your Eminence. You sneaky, underhanded wretch of a lawyer. That reminds me, you said something to this effect earlier. It is time to cease this insanity. Don't you feel stupid for saying that now? Indeed, of all the things she has said, I can think of nothing more ludicrous. Apollo, teach this deceitful, putrid queen a lesson she won't soon forget. Ha ha ha. Gladly, because it really is time to cease this insanity. Garan, your reign of terror ends here. The powerful point. Very well. Demonstrating my facility as a spirit medium is simple enough. Behold, the magnificent power to commune with the dead. Oh, Your Eminence! O great spirit of the Founder who dwells in the Twilight Realm, heed the secret covenant of the orb, and appear here before us. Oh, here it comes! What's wrong? Are you not feeling well? So, Spirit of the Founder, grace us with your presence. The time is now, I beseech you. Appear before us. Heed my call. Founder, please. Ah! No, wait. I was just warming up. The rite actually starts from now. Look. Holy Mother! I thought she was gonna fall in there. A drowned spider. Prosecutor Sudbody, how is her evidence? It seems she now believes that she herself is the Holy Mother. I see, but her attempt at spirit channeling failed, did it not? Sadly, she seems unable to accept the facts. I fear it will be quite a challenge to question her later. And what, if I may ask, was her motive? I understand that she killed Minister Inga in order to prevent his coup d'etat. But what of her attempt to assassinate Queen Amara 23 years ago? To become queen herself? Maybe she just craved power and attention. She likely developed a psychological complex from her inability to channel spirits. That is why she kept Queen Amara alive to perform the rite of channeling for her. In that way, it would seem as if she had great spiritual power. In short, she built a cult of personality upon fear and lies. Then again, do not all tyrants? So then she never really intended to kill Amara, huh? What I don't understand is why Queen Amara even listened to Garan in the first place. Especially 14 years ago, before Rayfa was being held hostage. Why would she keep letting the people of Kirayan think she was dead? While she kept quietly performing the rite of channeling for Garan? My mother is a gentle soul by nature and loves her sister dearly. So when Garan told her to hide because Dirk was out to kill her, she believed it. What's more, she did not wish to tarnish the name of her beloved sister. That is why she acquiesced so obediently in Garan's request to keep channeling for her. Until she fled with Dirk and was told the truth, that is. So that's what happened. And since Rayfa was being held captive, I imagine Amara had no choice but to help cover up the truth behind Inga's murder. Yeah, living in secretly as Rayfa's servant Nena. No doubt only deepened her love for her daughter. She'd do anything to keep her safe. All the more reason to hide the painful truth from her. Well, that was a case for the ages. I don't know why I almost did Nayuta's voice. Well, that was a case for the ages. Prosecutor Sudbody has been cleared of all suspicion on the murder of Minister Inga, as has Mr. Dirk Sudbody in the assassination attempt on Queen Amara. Does the royal family return? Now then, I think this is high time I handed down my verdict on Dirk and Nayuta Sudbody. Not guilty. Butterflies. Yeah, Best Athena wasn't in there for that, for the whole held at gunpoint thing. Dirk, I hope you're watching. I proved your innocence. Nayuta's smiling again. And that revolution you've always dreamed of is finally happening. With this, may I finally say this court is adjourned. I think that restores the royal family. I believe Queen Amara has a throne to ascend. And Nayuta a place as well. Way to go, Apollo! I was on the edge of my seat when those guards stormed the courtroom. That was a shocker, all right. Can't imagine anything like that happening back home. I know, right? I was ready to go on down there and teach them a lesson myself. Really? I was barely able to hold her back. Hold me back? You were about to go ballistic after a while there, Athena. Yeah, well, I was thinking about helping you smack a few of them down, to be honest. Remind me to never say or do anything to deserve a Maya Athena double suplex. You did a fine job out there today, Apollo. Thanks for all the great advice, Mr. Wright. Nah, it was all you. That perseverance and never say die attitude you showed was impressive. I actually learned a thing or two myself. What? From me? That's a laugh. There were any number of times where I wouldn't have blamed you for giving up. Bet you stuck it out to the end and came away triumphant. By sheer force of will. And inner strength forged in countless trials. You overcame the most desperate and hopeless situation I've ever seen. I don't know about all that. I mean it. You've really come a long way, Apollo. I have nothing but respect for your abilities as an attorney. Really? Aren't you exaggerating just a little bit, Mr. Wright? You did it, Apollo. You finally won his seal of approval. But what about me, Nick? My channeling's come a long way, too. After all, I was deemed worthy enough to be used in 2 major crimes already. Yeah, and 2 major chances for me to become someone for you to channel next. For me to become someone you didn't channel next. Honestly, I couldn't have done this without the support of each and every person here. Mr. Wright, Athena, Nayuta, and of course, Dirk. That was pretty cool, Polly. You made it here. What are you doing here? Trucy? Trucy, what are you doing here? It's magic! I'm afraid she employed the old let's stow away in Mr. Edgeworth's suitcase trick. What? That would certainly explain why my suitcase was so heavy. Tell me you at least noticed it was heavier than usual. Trucy, do you even have a passport? My magic panties are an extra-dimensional space. It's like a mini-universe in there. I could produce a passport at the drop of my hat. Right. Maybe some things in this world are better left a mystery. She can always stow herself back in the suitcase again. Hornhead! Barbed head! I'm forever in your debt for what you've accomplished in this Hall of Justice. Without your presence, I may have never changed as I have this day. It's pathetic, I know. That's where you're wrong, Your Benevolence. It was you who changed yourself. Only you could choose to defy Guran. And that decision was yours and yours alone. That's right. All we did was present you with an opportunity. And you made use of it with gusto. This victory is yours, Your Benevolence. You should be proud of yourself. I see. So I am worthy of my title after all. I shall work to heal our kingdom so it may know peace and prosperity once more. She sure bounced back quick. So, Your Benevolence, I take it you learned the truth of your origins? That you are the daughter of Dirk and Queen Amara? Yes, my mother, Her Eminence told me. She said it was a part of my disciplining. If you can call it that. Sounds more like blackmail. Keep quiet or I'll tell everyone you're the daughter of a criminal. My mother was so insufferable. Or should I say my former mother. Sounds like there was no love lost there. But you cleared Dirk's name. My true father would no longer be known as a criminal. Therefore, I have nothing more to fear. So what's next for the kingdom of Curain? You lost your queen, so... Her Benevolence, Princess Rayfa, will ascend to the throne. Nayuta, but she can't channel spirits yet, right? Indeed, which is why I will act as regent on her behalf. Until the day she comes into her own. Yes, your help will be greatly appreciated, Prosecutor said. Is she going to say what I think she is? If she can get it out. What are you looking at? You horn-headed nincompoop? Ouch. Ouch. In any event, I will be assisted by Nayuta and Queen Amara for the time being. Queen Amara? Our country offers counsel to the rulers of neighboring kingdoms through channeling. Counsel. Consul? Consultation. It's a duty I intend to fulfill myself one day, but for now I will have Queen Amara assist me in that capacity. So then, she's going to be alright? Yes, it seems the bullet went straight through her without doing any serious damage. That's a relief. You did it, AJ! Thanks to you, both Dirk and Nayuta beat the charges against him. And you got the revolution rolling to boot. The revolution. Dirk. I guess you were right to believe in me after all. Yes, sir, there's gonna be some major changes around here. The legal system's going to return to its rightful state. It's like how Dirk always wanted. And the name of Apollo Justice will go down in Kyrie's history. Yeah, right. Oh, Nayuta, before I forget, there was something I wanted to give you before I head back home. You wish to give me something. Yes, as Dirk's birth son, I think you should have this. The badge? Is it the badge? It's either the badge or the book. No, that's the Defense Culpability Act. It's definitely not the book. It's the badge.
Take that!
This is Dirk's. I have to get back to the States. And I know you're a prosecutor and all. But as the man that's going to change Kurain, it's only right that you have it. To change Kurain. Yeah, in Dirk's place. Apollo, I'm afraid I must refuse your gift. What? Why? There's something I would like to show you. Huh? What's this all of a sudden? Mr. Wright, won't you and your friends please join us? Oh, sure. So why'd you bring us here, Nayuta? Apollo. I want you to stay here in Kurain. What? But why? We've lost our queen, and our kingdom stands at a crossroads. Most of all, we will need to rebuild our entire legal system. Naturally, that includes the reintroduction. Wow, the reintroduction of lawyers to the court. Wait, you're not asking me to. Yes, I want you to take over this law office. With you as a lawyer and me as a prosecutor. We shall rebuild Kurain's legal system from the ground up. You want me to help you rebuild the legal system? That's a lot to take in. Apollo, I cannot do this without you. As a lawyer, you are Dirk's spiritual heir. And having studied in America, your legal knowledge will be indispensable. This is way out of my league. The revolution is still in its infancy, but it was Dirk's dream to restore the legal system to its rightful state. Will you not help me realize that dream? Come on, AJ, you know it's what Dirk would have wanted. Let's do it together! Are you a lawyer? You must be taken aback by the sudden request, but please give it some thought. Of course. I'm honored that you asked. Still, I have my job back at the Write Anything agency to consider too. Don't you worry about that, Apollo. Besides, this is something only you can do. Something only I can do? I mean, to be completely honest, our office would be a bit short on firepower without you around, but hey. Mr. Wright. Actually, I'm sorry, but I can't get on board with this. Athena? I mean, there's still so much I want to learn from you, Apollo. That's right. I won't be the same without you. It won't be the same without you. And everyone back home would really miss you too. There's no way I can agree to this. Still, if you really wanted to stay... Yeah, Athena's right. It won't be easy, but... Athena, Trucy. Apollo, no one but you can make this decision. Know that I will not question whatever choice you make. Our flight leaves tomorrow morning, Apollo. Think you can make up your mind by then? I'll try. Talk about a difficult decision. Should I go back to the US and continue working with the Write Anything agency? Or should I stay in Kurain and help Nayuta rebuild the legal system? What's the right thing for me to do? The bus to the airport will be here any minute. I wonder where Apollo is. Do you think he decided to stay here in Khura'in? I guess we're in Phoenix's shoes right now. I bet he was up all night thinking. It's a life-changing decision after all. Whatever he decides, I'll have to accept it. I guess this means no more courtroom battles alongside him. Hey, guys! I'd know that booming voice anywhere. Hi, Apollo. Phew, I made it. Apollo, you're here! Does this mean you're coming home with us? Well, about that. Mr. Wright? Yes? I've made up my mind. Here it is. The moment of truth. I still have so many things to learn from you. But I've decided to stay in Khura'in. You're staying? But I feel like I have to pick up where Dirk left off. I can't let his sacrifice go to waste. I see. Plus, I want to teach others everything you've taught me about being a lawyer, Mr. Wright. Apollo. Dirk's roadmap for the future. And your teachings? I believe that these two things will save the people of this kingdom from further unrest. I want to do this. No, I have to do this. Apollo. I've never felt prouder. Proud to have had such an amazing attorney working under me. But someday, I'll return to the US. Once the new legal system here is firmly in place, I'll be back. Scout's honor. Will we really see you again, Apollo? You bet. Not that I have any idea how long it'll be. But I promise you this, everyone. I'll keep on learning and growing, and I'll come back to the US an even better lawyer. So don't you forget about me. Of course we won't, Apollo. There will always be a spot waiting for you back at the office. In the meantime, we'll be rooting for you. So knock 'em dead. You got it, Mr. Wright. I'm gonna miss you, Polly. But if this is it, then I'm going to support your choice all the way. Thanks, Trucy. Good luck with your magic act. I know you'll do Troop Grammari proud. I'll be cheering for you, too, Apollo. But don't think you're the only one with room to grow. The next time we meet, you'll probably won't even recognize me. In other words, game on? You bet! And I'm gonna win. I'm going to miss you too, Apollo. But I can't wait to see where your new adventure will take you. Well, there's our bus. See, that's the thing, too. Phoenix has a lot of inner monologue that happens that he just doesn't say out loud. So even, like, all of the things, all of the times that we're in Apollo's or even Athena's shoes, and he just has that ... like, thinking, or he says one thing. Like, there's a lot behind that. It's very cool. It's nice that we get to see it here, but normally we don't, so it's interesting to think of what kinds of things he's actually thinking whenever he's speaking to Apollo and Athena. Well, there's our bus. I guess this is it, Apollo. I'll never forget everything you've done for me, Mr. Wright. I don't know how I'll ever repay you. Here's to seeing you back in the US again someday. Until then, you know where to find me. There's that big grin. The legacy of those who came before us. It's handed down from parent to child. And from mentor to disciple. We must never stall or stagnate, but continue to grow and change. All that we've been taught, the beliefs and convictions that have been passed down to us. We must continue to nurture them, so we in turn can pass them on to the next generation.
Are you really sure you're okay with him staying, boss?
Uh-huh. I always figured he'd leave the nest someday.
Oh, I think they're almost here.
Just a little. Got it. Huh?
Why don't we go and check it out, AJ?
Justice law offices. Go on, Mr. Hat. Introduce yourself. I am the amazing Mr. Hat. Nice to meet you. I wanted to take this opportunity to announce my solo debut. It seems Mr. Hat doesn't want Apollo to leave him in the dust. We're fierce rivals, you know. Can't let him have the spotlight. It's just not the same without Polly, is it? Yeah, I kind of miss him too. I know, we should go visit him in Curaine. After seeing Mr. Justice in action, I got to thinking, what can I do for Curaine? Then it came to me, tourism! That's what. I'll develop Curaine's tourism industry and bring in more visitors. I'll roll out a night tour centered on the Founder's Orb. Ooh, and make a museum dedicated to the Defiant Dragons. Boy, the ideas just keep on coming. The text is going really fast. It's faster than it usually goes. I have to, like, be right on point with it. I want to congratulate you on becoming a forensic investigator, Detective Sky. Thank you, but Prosecutor Sanmati says he has need of me. So starting tomorrow, I'll be working in Curaine for a while. Look at it this way, it's sure to be an educational experience. True, plus I can't let that kid show me up either. I'll see what I can do for Curaine's revolution. Well, challenging as a way of helping people grow. I look forward to our next investigation upon your return. It's way too fast! Bah! She doesn't want to be showed up by Apollo. Darn that forehead face! Ever since he revealed the secret behind our teleportation trick? Show requests have been totally dried up. We'll be out on the street if we don't find some work soon. Maybe we should take Trucy up on her offer. She said we could make our debut as magicians at the Right Anything Agency. Shut up! I'm gonna show her up someday in my own terms. Nothing fires you up like a bitter rivalry. I didn't remember what their voices were, sorry. Curaine is just like this child right now, full of life and limited possibilities. I have faith that Dirk and my darling Taras will watch over them both. Have no fear. We'll see Dirk's legacy through to the end. And just for the junior here, it's a secret to him becoming a man among men. Behold the Dats pose! Wah! Oh, it sounds like little Feta is saying no thanks. Ha 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 ha! Come on, little guy, don't be shy. Feta? Fetai? Feta in me. Faith in me? Was it Faitha? I've been pulling a double duty ever since Apollo left, but that's okay. I'm going to make Simon recognize me for the awesome lawyer that I am. She's quaking in her boots. Widget, I can do it, and I will. Mr. Wright will be calling me his right-hand woman before you know it. Let's do this! Bucky, how dare you deliver my order in such a sorry state? Don't be mad, Simey. There was a huge party at my shop yesterday. But it still tastes fine. Here, try some. You great big pullock. I just lost my appetite because of you. It's hard to find good help these days. Wouldn't you say, old chum? That trial the other day really inspired me. I've even created a Rakugo routine based on Shisho's case. It's a mystery story that'll keep flipping at the audience thinking on his head. It's called The Scary Udon Noodle. Yeah, have you given away too much in the title? Keeping the Tonida school going is our way of paying penance and repaying our debt to Shisho. And that includes Rakugo training for that kid Owen. With my newfound mobility, even ancient ruins and their fancy schmancy Tomb Raider traps are no match for me. Fire! The university where my father worked is letting me help with a dig. One day I'll discover an unknown ancient civilization and dedicate it to him. I'll also be going on a dig in Kirain soon. That private justice had better not be slacking off. Seems like we're near the end. I'm going to be super busy now that I'm the head of the Fae Clan. Don't worry, Mystic Maya. I'll do whatever I can to help. Thanks, Pearly. Our first order of business will be to revolutionize Kirain Village. Oh, I have an idea. How about opening a store where we can buy new outfits like the city girls wear? Well, look who's all grown up now. But I think there are a few more pressing matters to take care of first. Yeah, you're right. I guess it'll be a while before I get my revolutionary makeover. Mother! Now that you have stopped being Nana, I want a new Nana. I wonder if there would be anyone willing to serve you in that capacity. You're quite a handful, after all. I am? With a simple wave of your hand, you would have your attire changed, meals prepared, and even your teeth brushed. To think I put such undue burden upon you, your great Grand Priestess Kirain. Fear not, Rafa. You have plenty of time with which to make amends. Perhaps you could start with one of your famous shoulder rubs. Her benevolence has taken to calling me Braidhead. Even worse, she trembles and her face turns red when she speaks to me. What have I done to deserve such animosity? Well, it is true that I am merciless within the Hall of Justice. To be given such a dismissive name is entirely uncalled for. Oh, what am I to do? Perhaps I shall consult Apollo about this. Aw, she's shy. She can't recognize you as brother. She just calls you Braidhead. I guess became Braidhead, not brother. How's he doing, Mr. Wright? Great, he's a respectful lawyer in his own right. He even has his own practice called Justice Law Offices. Thank you, this wouldn't have been possible without you. Oh, before I forget, I made a copy of this photo for you. A photo? Oh. That was nice of him. Jove. It is so good to see him again. Don't you think it's about time we told them the truth? After all, they've both grown into fine young people now. Yes, you're right. Perhaps it is about time they knew. Well, there it is. I guess he was waiting on her to reveal it. Oh, that's cool. It's gonna do all the little cutscenes, I guess. This was a neat case. The whole twist at the end that Dirk was dead the whole time, man. But it was nice to have that closure, I guess, finally, after 23 years, too. There's always something going on with the prosecutor that connects with the storyline of the lawyer. Always, every single time. I think Gavin was... I don't know. Even Gavin had his connection to Apollo and Phoenix and that. But, yeah. This case was fun. I did enjoy this case. Kirain is, and the gimmick of the divination seance is interesting. It is also, like, I remember whenever I first played this, and I heard that was what it was. It was like, okay, you get the final moments of the victim. I was like, scared almost. I was like, oh man, what am I gonna see? You know, like, that's a lot. That's intense. But it manages to do it without being too crazy. But wow. But thus the story, or Apollo's trilogy, comes to an end. And I guess it comes to an end with him finally finding out about his mother, and that she is still alive and well. That was that little conversation at the end there, in case you've forgotten that much. But, oh man, Dirk. But yeah, it's... finally, I guess, like I said, he was waiting on her say of whether or not to tell them. And now that Apollo is overseas, though, man, what's with all of these random things happening? Like, poor Apollo has been put through it for the last 2 games. Like, he has gone through a lot. I don't even think there was half as much tragedy in Phoenix's story. My goodness. Between his friend and his foster father and his biological father, and the fact that he doesn't know his mother, even though that's revealed. That's cute. Dear Mr. Wright, I can't believe it's already been a few months since I decided to stay. I'm sorry I haven't been good about keeping in touch, but things have been really hectic. Rebuilding a legal system I'm not yet familiar with has been a real challenge. But I will say it's given me plenty of work to keep me busy. Have you not given the autopsy report even a cursory glance, Mr. Justice? It's just I have 15 clients on my plate right now. Though I probably shouldn't have accepted all 15 at the same time. Oh, please. Are you going to help me rebuild Kirain's legal system or not? If you are, we need to move through this case backlog faster. Yeah, I know, but... Besides, those 15 are only the beginning. There are 10 more awaiting your services. Huh? I too have friends and acquaintances seeking legal representation. And being that you are the only lawyer in the country, I told them to contact you. I estimate you'll only had about 16 clients to your caseload. Huh? Now wait just 1 minute. I've been handing out advertisements for your new office. They read... From legal advice to investigating extramarital affairs, even yak milking. For a limited time only, these services and more are free down at Justice Law offices. I've already received requests from 380 new clients. I'm going to have to say something, aren't I? They always encourage them to, at the end of these games. They're like, go ahead, we know you want to. I trust you did your Court of Steel exercises this morning. Well, go on. There's no need to hold back. Now that you mention it, we have yet to hear you shout today. Yes, and I have grown quite drowsy from these tedious proceedings. I could use a loud something to wake me up. Do not disappoint me, Hornhead. As you wish, your benevolence. There's really only one thing to say at a time like this. It's a word I've said countless times in my career, but one I'll never tire of. Objection! And with that, we have come to the end. Are we going to see... Nice. That's a cool outline for it, or back scene collage, whatever for it. Well, guys, that concludes my playthrough of the Ace Attorney series, and I'm glad that I got to play this particular game again because it has been a long time, and I didn't remember any of it. So it was really cool to revisit that with you guys and to kind of respond to things as they happened and to not be too much into the or ahead of the game there. It's a spider web. It's everybody caught in the spider web. Oh, that's so cool. I thought it was just like beams of light, but then I saw the stretches between it. That's neat. Well done, artistic... whoever made this collage. But yeah, I've already kind of said my piece about this particular case. I enjoyed it. I did like the twists and turns. It wasn't... As much as there were like the longer parts of it, it wasn't too long. It didn't overstay its welcome, as I've been calling it lately. But... I'm so sad to be done with these games. I love these games so much. And it's grown so like it is very different. This game was very different. I think even the last game, like the 3D games, kind of have a different feel to them anyway because of the 3D and the new gimmicks and stuff. But it still holds a lot of the original. But wow, yeah, the darker storylines, the sadder kind of things that just kind of happen. Is a lot to take in, but I like that it's still a bittersweet kind of thing. There's hope in the end. Apollo is staying at Kirain. He has his brother. He has and Nayuta has his mother, and he has his sister, and that much is in place as well. So yeah. I think that there's stuff to be said of that as well. I don't know. I don't have much more to say. I'm just kind of prolonging it because it's the end. So thank you for watching. If you watched all of these, if you watched every single one, yikes, I don't even know what I'm at this point, how many uploads it's been. But it has been a long ride. It has been a fun ride. I love this. And I hope that you enjoyed it as well and got to kind of catch on to some of the case stuff and guess what was going to be presented and pick up on those inconsistencies and contradictions and all of that because it's a lot of fun. And if you are interested in these games, I know that this trilogy, the Apollo trilogy that we just played through, is coming to the Switch, I guess, soon. At time of recording, so keep an eye out for that. If you want to play through it yourself, even though you've seen the story, you could be like me and want to replay the games, even though you know the whole story, because they're fun to play, and fun to meet these characters again and to see them interacting with each other. But yeah, we're gonna end with that, and I do also recommend the prequel series, which is, there are 2 games in that, but it's like a 2-in-1 game with the Ace Attorney Chronicles, and I might want to play that now that I've finished through all of these. I'm probably going to play that on my own time. Nothing to record for you guys, unfortunately, but that just brings it more to your ability to play it yourself if you are interested to meet the ancestor to Phoenix Wright, I think that he's supposed to be. I cannot pronounce his name, though. So every time I try to, I'm like, I always mess it up. But it takes place in Japan and in England, and there's a Sherlock Holmes-esque character in there, and that's like the gimmick of the games, is his deductions, which is really fun. And there's a lot of cool stuff that comes with that being in 3D as well. There's some interesting ways of analyzing things and looking over crime scenes and things. But yeah, I guess that's all I have to say about everything. So thank you for watching. I hope you had a blast. I mean, you made it this far, so I'm hoping that means that you enjoyed it. And if there is anything else that I feel like would be fun to play through on here, maybe I'll be back. But right now, as it stands, these playthroughs are at an end. So thank you for watching, and who knows? I might talk to you guys again. Bye.